Bible introduces us to Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel, the very first family on earth. But then something strange happens. Cain kills his brother, gets banished, and suddenly shows up with a wife. Where did she come from? Who was she? And why doesn't the Bible clearly tell us? This is the mystery that has divided scholars, pastors, and Bible readers for thousands of years. And today, we're going beyond the Sunday school. Let's go back to the very beginning. Genesis tells us God created Adam and Eve, the first two humans. They had two sons, Cain the farmer and Abel the shepherd. Now Cain and Abel both brought offerings to God, but God favored Abel's offering over Cain's. And Cain? He was furious. In a moment of rage and jealousy, Cain killed his brother Abel, making it the very first murder in human history. God confronted Cain and punished him, cursing the ground beneath him and banishing him from his home. Cain was sent to wander the earth as an outcast. And here is where things get very interesting. In Genesis chapter 4, verse 16 and 17, and I want you to pay close attention here, the Bible says, and I quote, "Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod, east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch." Did you catch that? Cain, who was supposedly part of the only family on earth, suddenly has a wife in the land of Nod. No introduction, no explanation. She just appears. And it doesn't stop there. Cain then goes on to build an entire city and names it after his son Enoch. A city. You don't build a city for two people. That requires a population. So where did all these people come from? This is the question that has puzzled Bible readers for centuries, and there are two main schools of thought, and both of them will make you think. Theory 1. Cain married his sister, present respectfully and clearly. The first theory, and this is the one most traditional Bible scholars and theologians hold, is that Cain married his sister. Now, before you react, hear the argument out. Genesis 5 verse 4 tells us that Adam lived for 800 years after Seth was born, and in that time, he had other sons and daughters. The Bible doesn't name all of Adam and Eve's children, it only highlights the ones relevant to the story being told. So the argument is, Adam and Eve had many more children than just Cain, Abel, and Seth, daughters included. And in the earliest days of humanity, with no other humans around, siblings would have had to marry each other to populate the earth. Supporters of this theory also point out that the law against incest wasn't given until Moses, hundreds of years later in Leviticus. So technically, at that point in history, it wasn't forbidden. It's a logical argument, but it raises uncomfortable questions that not everyone is satisfied with. Theory 2. There were other humans. God created, present with equal respect. The second theory is one that doesn't get talked about enough in Sunday school, and that is the idea that Adam and Eve were not the only humans God created. Here's the argument. Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2 actually tell two different creation accounts. In chapter 1, God creates mankind, male and female, in a general sense. In chapter 2, God specifically forms Adam from the dust, and later creates Eve from Adam's rib. Some scholars suggest that chapter 1 describes a separate creation of humans, other people who existed alongside or before Adam and Eve. And if that's the case, the land of Nod wasn't empty. There were already people there, and Cain simply married one of them. This would also explain who Cain was afraid of when God banished him. In Genesis 4 verse 14, Cain says, "Anyone who finds me will kill me." If his family was the only family on earth, who exactly was he afraid of? That's a question that Theory 2 answers very neatly. Now here's the thing. We're not here to tell you what to believe. The Bible is a deep, layered, and fascinating book, and part of the beauty of it is that it leaves room for questions, for thought, and for conversation. So I want to know what you think. Did Cain marry his sister? Or were there other humans on earth that the Bible doesn't fully describe? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's have a real conversation about it. Because that is what Beyond the Sunday School is all about. Going deeper, asking the questions, and exploring the stories that most people never get to hear. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps more people find this channel. And if you want to keep going beyond what Sunday School taught you, hit that subscribe button because we are just getting started. Next week, we're diving into another story that will absolutely blow your mind. You don't want to miss it. I'm glad you're here, and I'll see you in the next one.